Okay, the last chance qualifier continues. We got the winner bracket final, another best of 5 right now, and the Swedes are at it again, going up against DDX. Again, this is all on the new patch, obviously. The teams had a little bit more time to train with all of this, to practice, to test things out, and we've seen some of the stuff already in action. One of the things that is interesting is that we have seen, I mean, expectedly, more teams including team compositions in their setup that lead to more macro play. Doesn't mean that every single game goes like this, but you have every now and then a team that just clearly from the beginning is trying to run the map and plays more in a macro style. We still get our team fights, but they're trying to make the opponent really work for it, split on the lanes, and try and push structures, which I actually kind of like. It makes things, it just spreads things out a little bit more, causes more varieties in play styles. D.Va banned. Virgil obviously playing D.Va pretty much whenever he can, and teams have either decided to let D.Va go through and play against her, or to just simply ban her out. And in this case, the Swedish team decided that they are going to eliminate her. It's going to be an interesting series. DDX is not really a pushover team or anything, and we'll see how Team Gonen is now going to deal with that. Lots of star power, obviously, on the blue team side. I mean, Wubi, Poig, Zelia, and Breeze all played in HGC for a long time. Tons and tons of tournament experience here. They have the mechanics to compete with the best, but at the same time, they don't nearly have as much play time over the last year as someone on the side of DDX. So that's the little caveat here. But obviously, the more they play, the more they participate in tournaments like this, the more they're going to get back to an old form and will be able to make those choices. Maiev kicks us off for the blue team, and then we get Rhaegar and Blaze on the side of DDX. Could also, of course, get a couple of sneaky picks at some point eventually. I mean, teams have been experimenting with a lot of different things. We had also Asmodan and Group B being played, a couple of others as well, and we'll now see how this is all going to play out. Lucio, he is the one that gets quickly picked, and then we have Tyrael. So, I mean, Tyrael for Breeze has actually been a hero that we've now gotten a couple of times. So far, so good. Very aggressive, usually, what he does with him. But like, we could have gotten it also for DDX. I mean, Tyrael Blaze has been something that we have now seen a lot again, but it's generally a comp that has been played ever since the days of HGC and was played for an eternity. It felt like every single tournament that we had, once that he came down to the finals, Tyrael would reappear, even if previously he wasn't part of the meta. So, yeah. Dehaga gets banned out, so no global on Infernal Shrines, at least not for Gonen. Always assuming that we're not going to get a 4-star pick. And Hanzo gets banned out too. Shrine Control, I mean, with Jojo banned out. Murden, okay. Pretty quickly. And there is Sylvanas. Alright, so we have Sylvanas again. This was already played previously, now twice by DDX, and it's not only really a useful tool when you're going for the objective, but you can at the same time also attempt to just push the side lane a little bit and make your move there. But over on the left side, I want to see what Poik does. Is he finally going to play his Tracer at some point this series, by the way? That was denied to him in the semi-final. We get Genji and we get Leoric. Fairly happy with Genji, with Poik performing on Genji, but I want to see that Tracer pick at some point. And Tracer got banned out multiple times against the blue team in the games that they played beforehand, but eventually I think we're going to get that. For now, we get Sgt.Hammer as the final pick, and that kicks us off, everybody. The best of 5 series. We have Gonen going up against DDX, and our first map is Infernal Shrines. Game number 1, on the left side, in blue, Azzy on Maiev. We got Wubi on Leoric. Poik is playing Genji for the team. Can't wait for that. And we have Zelia on Lucio. That's always a pleasure. And Breeze on Tyrael. Over on the right side, DDX, after their successful match in the semi-final against the Enjoyers. They have now Shiza Kid on Muradin with third wind on level 1. We got Papa Smurf on Sylvanas with Might of the Banshee Queen. Danazovsky is playing Rhaegar, Virgil on Blaze, and then Dead Inside coming strong in with Ambush and Sgt.Hammer. So, we'll actually see how this is working out with Sgt.Hammer for them. First objective, usually Sgt.Hammer doesn't have mobility yet, But we could, of course... Oh my god. Well, the early game didn't really work out for them, but only in the sense that Mirrodin died. This worked out quite nicely. One tower down. Sgt.Hammer at the bottom of the map. Can they kill more? Because if they can't kill another hero here, then the Tyrael death might still have been worth it. So this is an interesting one right now. Bit of damage done at the bottom of the map. One tower destroyed up at the top. And Tyrael has fallen in the middle. It's honestly a little bit difficult to tell who got the better end of this. But right now, at least, we have Gonan with the push for the next camp. They already took one. Azzy was grabbing the one on the left side, and now they're going for number 2. Shiza Kid has already been sniffed out here, and will not interrupt them long enough to properly contest that or anything. So, we'll see how many tricks they got up their sleeves here. Money Pick Genji still rushing around here. Always a pleasure to see that too. And of course, we have now, with one camp at least claimed by DDX, also a few mercenaries on the map for the red team. So Azzy is jumping back out, and we'll see what they can do with that inside. The first objective that is going to spawn in a minute, or going to be announced in a minute. That should be still an interesting one, because I doubt that Sgt.Hammer is going to have too much of an impact there. But I guess we'll see. Lots of pressure against Mirrodin now too. Leo at the top. Ah, the Money Pick gang. I love it. Best mount still for Leo. Honestly, there's so few Money Pick aficionados these days. Connoisseurs, where you're like, okay, these people know what they're doing. That I kind of forgot how epic the Money Pick is. How awesome it is as a mount. That it is indeed the best mount in the game. And that no other mount can even come close to it. So, yeah, I forgot, and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed, and it hurts me to say this, but now that we have it in its full glory here again, I mean, what is not epic about that? So, Poik jumping in here, and that jump was sponsored by Money Pick Power. We have an interesting adjustment on level 4, by the way. We are getting Barricade. Now, that's not quite what I expected. Are we gonna see more adjustments on the build? I mean, we had this Spider-Mine build for a while floating around that was played by, I believe it was Dead Inside or Nazovsky, one of those guys. It's clearly not going to be a Spider-Mine build, but it's interesting that we're now seeing Barricade being used here. So I'm kind of curious how much they can do with this. Because my first impression would be that this is going to be fairly useless to them. But I also might be wrong here. So, eager to find out. Let's put it like that. First objective. DDX is slightly pulling ahead here. And Virgil is low. And Genji gets the kill. Here is Poik. You know, that is a typical last hitter right there. Poik sees a kill, potentially, and then jumps in and gets it. Now it's a 4 versus 5. Blue team is in the lead on this. And they will also get an early level 7 talent, with Genji moving to the top lane to grab some extra experience. So they have the talent advantage and the minion advantage. They're going to get that Frozen Punisher. The new patch makes it so that Punishers don't jump over walls anymore. So this should give you some value. And I am still eagerly awaiting that level 7 choice for Sgt.Hammer. I would love something. And yes, he does it. Pulse Detonation Core. So we are getting a completely different build here from Sgt.Hammer. We had this a few months ago. This was played a few times. It was really, really interesting to see. And it was a bit all over the place, because some of the games went extremely well for them. And then others, they were absolutely destroyed, and Sgt.Hammer felt like he had no impact whatsoever. So right now we're getting, again, Ambush on level 1, going straight into Barricade here as the level 4 choice, and then Pulse Detonating Core as your level 7 choice. So they're trying to go for a different style with this. And I am eager to see if this works out or not. It's a pretty ballsy move to do that in game number 1 of the best of 5 series, I suppose. This is something I would have more expected once that you know, they take a bit of a lead here. But we'll see how impactful this is going to be. And the impact, again, we're going to get more picks into that particular build as this continues, but time will tell. For now, though, it is the blue team that is a bit ahead. They won the first objective. They did a bit of work here in the middle. The wall is not entirely destroyed, so the objective fairly harmless. But we now have level 7 slowly coming together. We're having, level 10 slowly coming in. With level 7 talents, we now have for Tyrael also Purge Evil. Blaze alone at the top. Leo rotating around against him. And the quick Stormbolt against Poik, who's still totally fine and zips out again. But has to also be a bit careful because he went a little bit too deep on this one. And if not for Azalea, this could have been closer than hoped for. Now with level 10 abilities, we're getting Entomb. We also have the disc for Maiev. All eyes on Tyrael, of course, who we expect to go for Judgment, I suppose, with the build that he went. And we have the X-Strike. So Judgment into X-Strike, definitely a pretty powerful combo if they're trying to execute it here. And I suppose they will. So Tyrael is slowly coming in. Breeze griefing a little bit with a pleb mount, by the way. No money pick, no nothing. I mean, that's actually a bit of a disgrace, but we'll let that slide for now, just because the nostalgia is kicking in. Lucio already zipping around, and Zelia has been annoying as hell to them. I mean, he's been all over the place here, and he doesn't play an assassin in this one, but at least with Lucio, he still has a lot of impact in the game as he's trying to interrupt plays on the other side. Judgment, Ancestral gets thrown out instantly, and Breeze becomes the victim of the attack. Breeze goes down, and they're blowing the minion wave up quickly, but now a chance for the red team to be aggressive here. 2 kills to 1, that was the first one for them. And they were hoping for number 2, but Poik gets out. And the shrine is activating in 20 seconds. Now Tyrael will be back in time. But that whole plan to go for Rhaegar didn't really work out. Nicely done though by Rhaegar. I mean, him being so super aware that he would be the target. And Danazovsky, the second that he realized that Judgment was coming, he instantly hit the Ancestral and survived through it. So that turned it around for them. Now we have the fight down at the bottom. Zelia is very, very low. Might have to tap a fountain if he still has to cool down. And they're dropping super low here. So this is a kill on Sylvanas. She's down. Blue team full on survival mode as they're trying to go for dead inside. And they get the kill. Sgt.Hammer is dead too. At the top, the fight has started to focus onto the objective between Blaze and Leoric. So right there, easy hits and an advantage for the blue team with a double kill against DDX is obviously going to be another objective for them. Maiev down at the bottom of the map. Nobody dealing with her right now, as he is therefore moving away. So just escorting the minions in a little bit. And yeah, not pushing that too hard. It's still a bit surprising to me that there are not more teams that... Possessions can be fun. That there are not more teams that in a situation like this just trigger Inspire on the minions by attacking structures. And I have to assume that they tried this in some of their scrims and just decided it's not worth it and that they're better off just falling back and getting the camp instead. But it would be nice to see sometimes a bit more pressure there. Shizakid gets attacked. Nice. Once again, Judgment from Tyrael, but Muradin doesn't go down. To be fair, we have seen it occasionally that these plays are being made to try and push structures more aggressively. But talking about pushing structures aggressively, that fort at the top is taking some serious damage with that second Punisher. But that's also true for Genji, who gets caught by the jet propulsion and then murdered. Now, down at the bottom of the map, here's still a play being made by Maiev as they're attempting to again push at least the tower. But Zeratul... I keep doing this, by the way, like I don't even know why. I mean, obviously Lucio is not Zeratul, but he's zipping around like a madman over here. I would love to have a Zeratul in this game. I don't know where exactly my brain that thought got triggered, but... Okay, that's gold. That is gold. They get the kill with the mines, and it was glorious. Tactical mine deployment right there. So they leave the trail, and that leads to kills like this one. So they have a bit of a trap going on and need that Stormbolt. Zelia just face checks the bush, and then it's Sgt.Hammer time as they get the kill there. So that's kind of amusing. Sgt.Hammer with some big value as they get the kill, and I can't believe that they actually fell for that. Sgt.Hammer is, by the way, at 32,000 damage. So, yep. Quite nicely. And I am very intrigued as the game continues if they're still able to get hammer value out of it. Because this is not really a build that you would normally expect to be played out. But I guess they're just throwing those mines out now specifically to intercept anyone that goes through a bush and to prepare potentially for those shrine fights. So, well, with that, oh, perfect entomb, but very nicely played by Rhaegar as well. Now, they're not out of the woods just yet on this one, but this definitely helped. Cooldown exchange, level 16 is ready. We get a royal focus build again. And we got Tyrael with Bound by Law after he went into the Sword of Justice over here. Leo still at the top. It is a fairly interesting game, number one, I gotta say. Not only because of the build that we're getting from Sgt.Hammer, but also the way that it plays out. Hammer gets killed. So 5 kills to 3. With 2 objectives for Team Gornen. We still don't have them with a single fort destroyed, which might change soon. But now DDX is picking up their own level 16 talent. That's the first thing. And for Sgt.Hammer, that actually means that we're getting Executioner right now. Next objective is announced and teams are making plays again for the Shaman Camp to push. Full 5 versus 5 on the next fight is going to be, could be wild. And I want to see if Sgt.Hammer is now starting to set up a bit, because they could. They know exactly where the fight is. Hammer could come in. Could get a couple of mines connected, even back here. And if that's the case, then it makes it really dicey for Genji to engage and be aggressive there. So that inside is already is close, but the problem is obviously that the objective is up and the blue team has taken control of the shrine for now. And has taken the lead on this too. So as this continues, we have them in a 15-4 advantage. Mines everywhere, by the way. So yeah, Sgt.Hammer is setting this fully up on Inferno Shrines now for them. Tyrael was actually interrupted as he tried to dart in on Sgt.Hammer. But they're getting a lot of control with this. So Tyrael jumps in and out. And the red team has taken over. They are ahead at this point. Genji is trying to move into the back. Again, their Ancestral is on time. But they might still lose to Anasovsky, and they do. The blue team is trying to get out, but they're losing 1, they're losing 2, they're losing 3. 3 heroes gone, and the red team takes over on the point. Mines everywhere, big damage for Sgt.Hammer, and it's honestly working out for them. I mean, look at this. The team fight just doesn't go their way. Sgt.Hammer is now sitting at 52,000 damage, easy top damage in the game by a massive margin. And it's just these fights on these isolated points that I thought was a big problem. Fort at the bottom of the map is going to be taken out by Sylvanas easily. This is the push strategy that we talked about earlier. All of those minions fully inspired. Extra 35% attack speed and movement speed. And it helps them to super quickly take down the fort at the bot lane. The one in the middle has fallen to the Punisher. And now that the red team is moving in topside, they have a chance to eliminate the final fort of Team Gornen. Not quite there yet. 2 more attacks are being made though. Sylvanas still down at the bottom of the map. Fort is gone. They want to go for Muradin, Shizakid, Avatar, and Rhaegar can get a heal or 2 out. Doesn't have an Ancestral, but doesn't need one at this point in time either. 6 kills versus 6. And Sgt.Hammer is going wild here. Poik is trying to shut them down, but he just can't. I can't wait for the next shrine fight, I'm not going to lie to you, because this is working so well currently with Sgt.Hammer that it's actually a bit nuts. And Team Gornen is probably looking at this and they're like, what the hell is happening here? So, yeah. And once level 20 hits, I mean, there's upgrades here. This is actually good fun. Experience, just to give a look at that. Winion experience, 3,000 point lead for the blue team. Made up by their opponents thanks to the hero XP and also the passive experience. We have taken an advantage now. They should get the early level 20 simply because they took so many of the structures out. And then look at those minefields. Mines everywhere. They're double checking a little bit more now. But Genji immediately is there and has to jump back out. And now with level 20 we're getting the shrapnel mines. So now you have an armor reduction as well. which is actually bonkers. Now, this is where this entire build is properly coming together. And we'll see if this is gonna be what wins them the next shrine. They're just trying to set up traps the entire time here. Now there's Buried Alive though. The last time that DDX played that strategy, they abandoned it after, I don't know, 3-4 attempts. Didn't really work out for them, but now apparently it's back. And Dead Inside feels fairly comfortable with it. And at least on this map, it has been working. They are now ahead in structures, amongst other things, because of the way that they are running the objective with full mind control. And of course, the next one is spawning up at the top, where the red team already by default has an advantage because they still have a fountain on the lane. So this is going to be a big advantage for them. Sgt.Hammer, they're taking the camps once more. And right now, I mean, Sgt.Hammer is at 55,000 damage. We got siege damage for Blaze. That is still way up there. And, yep. Time to see what... Oh, there's Judgment! Don't tell me they can get their kill this quickly. Nah, they can't. Rhaegar is on point. Once again. Dead Inside. Dropping the mines. And again, look at the armor reduction that we're going to get for the blue team. Minus 50 as a maximum. That is wild. So if you hit that, you're finding yourself in a really good spot to drop some targets. Now, Dead Inside is in position. No hover siege mode, of course, because of this build. Which is a big... I mean, this is a big downside of it. It's kind of unheard of. But they are falling behind on points. They are trying to inch forward, though, slowly. And, yeah, Dead Inside is also, again, using his Z. Trying to utilize that, too. But Lucio is dead. Leo is dead. They're now going for Poik. Armor reductions at 20. He dies 2. They're coming in for the next target. And they're all disappearing here. Yep, massive plays. So first of all, we have the thrusters leaving the trail on... Like, it basically just hits the thrusters. Gets mines everywhere. Throws the mines out with his abilities too. They're connecting. It's an armor reduction. And the damage that is dishing out. And then they're getting the rest. And now they're pushing for game. They're gonna go for game here. So that was the fight up at the top. And I mean, again, they're all just chunked up there. The first two fall quickly. The armor reduction is kicking in heavily. And now we're seeing the keep getting destroyed before the team is even there. 68,000 damage now for Sgt.Hammer with this build. 33,000 for Blaze and for Muradin. They are slowly coming back. Red team still has to decide if they really want to push for this or not. But the Punisher is at 86% HP, so it's going to do damage one way or another. And the blue team is desperately attempting to defend this, but now the Punisher is jumping back in. The core is down to 80% already. They can finally get a kill on Sgt.Hammer. That's the third one, but I think it's too late. It's definitely too late. This is a lead right there for Team DDX. Gonen loses on Infernal Shrines against Spider-Man Sgt.Hammer. We're going to head in game number 2 in a second. Guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the coverage here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps to spread the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past and might rejoin the game. So spread the love a little bit, help to promote the games here, like and subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the series. Game number 2, Towers of Doom. So the Swedish All-Star team has just been defeated by Spider-Man Sgt.Hammer. I mean, shout out to DDX that they are actually willing to play stuff like this and use it here in the winner bracket final is kind of cool. And it worked extremely well, especially once that level 20 was available and you had the armor reduction. They just couldn't do anything. Once that the fights clustered around the shrines, it was becoming a massive problem. And I could actually see them use it more on maps like this one. Now, some things don't change. The ban pattern is still pretty much the same. We're getting a ban on Diva. Virgil is getting banned out here. And then on the other side, DDX eliminates Dehaka and gets rid of Rhaegar. So the red team is ahead right now. And the question is just simply, can Gonen come back? Can they pull that off here? Towers of Doom, very, very different map, of course. We had some crazy comebacks just today on Towers of Doom, which was nuts to begin with. But we're starting things off with Junkrat getting picked by the blue team. And, of course, still kind of expect somebody to at least look at Stitches, potentially pick him, maybe just instead ban him out. But Stitches has been really a staple. Another hero that I could totally see in this series to be played eventually is also Medivh, just saying. Medivh is always fantastic, can be used also as a counter against an opponent is playing with Stitches, can be used with Stitches as a combo, of course, for a proper kidnap combo. So there's pretty much a lot that they can try and pull off here. But we are starting things off with Maiev, Jojo. This time she wasn't banned out, so they're taking advantage of that. And we get Yrel. So Wooby is finally playing his Yrel on the side lane. He played also on Dragonshire in a previous series, Deathwing. And on Towers of Doom, I could have seen them go for Deathwing as well, considering that around all the volatile channels is pretty fantastic when you just get the interrupt from Deathwing time and time again and just stall the objective out. Stitches gets actually banned. Well, there it is. So, yeah. With Maiev and Blaze, that was obviously... There was at least a chance that it gets picked. Instead, they go for Muradin and they use Brightwing. But I would have really liked another Stitches one. Kind of feels that Towers of Doom just has become the Stitches map. The other map where Stitches gets played is probably Tomb of the Spider Queen. But on Towers of Doom we get that a lot. Masquerade is one of the tank players that plays it a ton. We've seen it now from lots of other teams too, of course. But, well, the final two picks. Azalea, what are we getting for him? Is it another Lucio pick? Nazeebo, first and foremost. Okay, it's Nazebra time. Alright, and we get Lucio, as already expected. Now, if you make it with Nazeebo to 20 and you get Viral Infection, you can take structures down within seconds. But especially if you go into something like a Toad build, for example. We already had a Nazeebo play earlier today in a different series. I think it was the first one of the day. On Battlefield of Eternity. But now let's head into our second map of the winner bracket final in the last chance qualifier. And the final pick for the red team is Hanzo. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Towers of Doom. Game number 2 on the left in blue. We got Gonan, Spider build for Poik on Nazebra. We get him with Widowmakers on level 1. Breeze playing Janna, Azzy on Junkrat. Wooby is playing Yrel and Zelia on Lucio. Over on the right side, it is a Shizakit with Muradin playing for DDX. We got Papa Smurf on Maiev, Danazovsky on Brightwing, coming in with a greater Polymorph here on level 1. Virgil is playing Blaze, and we got Dead Inside with Hanzo. No Sgt.Hammer build variation this time, unfortunately. But that was kind of fun. I really think it's cool that they haven't fully given up on that idea. The last time that they tried that, they abandoned it again. But seeing it in a tournament like this, I think that's actually pretty cool. So, yeah. Nicely done. Nazeebo with a nice wall immediately. It's trapping Blaze for a second. Gets a bit of damage out. But we'll see how much of an impact Nazeebo is going to have as this continues. And if this is going to be really the play that wins them the game, or if all of a sudden DDX is just exploiting more weaknesses on the blue team side and pulls ahead with a 2-0, which would make it, of course, pretty difficult for Gonan to get back into it. Would make it nearly impossible. I mean, at that point, you might already familiarize yourself with the teams that are in the loser's bracket right now. But at this point, well, we got a little bit of extra action with the camps taken. Both of them have been claimed. Shizakit that's booped around by Lucio and is still able to get away, but he got close there towards the end. Yrel and Blaze are playing off against each other on the top and the mid lane. And down here at the bottom with the Pumpkin still alive. I suppose they're going to deal with that in a moment. The triple front line with Maiev, Blaze and Muradin has a ton of CC stacked. You have a Poly behind this too. So once that you really get into the fight and got hold of a target, they should be able to take them down fairly easily. But yeah, I mean, right now we have up at the top lane Wooby just simply easily jumping around here, and he should be able to deal with that 1v1 fairly easily. But it's for me really a question on how Nazeebo is going to impact all of this, as we already have kill number 1 with a quick attack towards Breeze. Joanna gets taken out. Junkrat needs to try and get away from this one too. But if they can deal with Nazeebo, that would be pretty big. And this is, for me, the big question. Nazeebo late game is always a bit of a powerhouse. He doesn't always win when he gets to 20, but it makes it very difficult for the other team. And Poik is going to play this very, very safe for the most part, outside of, well, I guess Alder fights. And if he is able to get himself to a point in the game where he has Vital Infection, then the game might flip. This was always a late game map. It is a comeback map. It's all about scaling. It's about tower control too. And this is where Nazeebo can excel if they get there. I mean, it's a big if. Obviously, the red team is not unaware of what's going on here, so they're going to try and establish an advantage early on that they can try and hold for a lot longer, and we'll see if that works out. Unstable anomaly now on level 4 as so often. Whoopi is actually dealing with Virgil up here. And that forces my F up. So, yeah, Whoopi still dealing with this. And down at the bottom of the map, it's now a 4 versus 3. That was the entire idea for them in the first place. My F is still sitting in the mid lane, and Val Blaze is trying to cheekily channel the top left, which is obviously not working. But my F is now moving down to the bottom of the map, so they're turning this into a 4-on-4 fight once again. And Breeze is using the Iron Skin early, and they have all needed to retreat here pretty quickly. So the interrupt attempt from Urel at the top that forced my F's hand and made this a bit of an annoying start into the objective for DDX. It didn't really help Gonan at the end. They still lost 2 out of the 3 altars, with Lucio now channeling this one out. So small advantage for DDX, not only that kill against Breeze, but now also the extra points on the core. And, well, we still have camps claimed, and it's actually the red team that has taken their own and can now attempt to maybe even steal away what we're getting on the other side. Zelia also super low. Thankfully for him, my F wasn't there, or that would have been a kill for sure. But he is low too. So Zelia is able to get out. They're jumping on the other side then on Whoopi, and Urel gets crushed. So the Space Goat is gone, and this should give them the Pumpkin Camp. DDX is going to make a move for it, and they're going to grab that. While that's happening, the blue team has defeated the Pumpkins that were already traveling through the lane. But yeah, those should at least connect with the tower. So no minion wave going to be interrupting with that. 1 tower down, a little bit of damage done. And Zelia still up against my F here. He needs to be really careful. As I said before, there's tons of CC. And even Lucio, once that he gets caught, might be in some trouble on it. So they want Zelia. And it's always a bit of an interplay, because if you're able to just dance around them and escape, you're wasting their time a lot. But if at any point they're gonna catch you, then you are just gonna get wrecked. Because hit point wise, Lucio is definitely not up there. So once they have control of him, he will go down. But again, that's the jump at the bottom of the map on Azzy, and Junkrat is dead too. So it's basically a bit of a kill squad that DDX is setting up here, where they are now locking in kill number 3, and therefore half level lead that translates into a level 10 ability. So this is actually working okay. Brightwing also with a free channel, which again, it's only small incremental advantages that they're now getting with another 4 points against the opponent's score. But still, we have 75 stacks for Nazeebo, so it's pretty clear already that unless something insane happens, Nazeebo is going to get his stacks. The other question, the more important question is, A, is he going to be able to get to level 20? And B, is this going to happen if he hits 20? Are they on more or less even standing, at least on bell towers? Because if not, then DDX can still run this. They missed the disc here. Oh, and Muradin is in trouble. Brightwing is helping out, but yep, there was the ult from Poik. Nice attempt to get the kill on Muradin, but they couldn't drop the tank. Quest is nearly completed on level 1, by the way, with the spiders. As Blaze is now moving towards the top. More camps up on the map, so teams will be eager to aim for those again. 15,000 damage on Hanzo, 10,000 for Nazeebo. It's all a slow attempt right now. Rotate between the lanes when you can. Get the minion stacks. And try to not fall too far behind. That's always the game plan with Nazeebo. try and not fall too far behind. Boss, of course, also still up. Something that could be claimed if a big team fight is won by one of the teams. Next altar is coming in the middle as well. Yeah, down at the bottom of the camp, they still have to deal with the pumpkins here. And they deal it actually pretty quickly. So we have that zone out, but Maiev again with a tether as we're going full on into that team fight. Big tether gets locked down herself though and is able to escape. Maiev able to get out of the fight. Muradin still stuck in the bunker. Has to pop his avatar. And is... Where's the jump? Can't jump away. Nope. Junkrat is able to get the kill. I was the entire time waiting for the cooldown to come back, and apparently it just didn't happen in time. So now we have a pretty solid position for Team Gonen to get themselves an altar channel, and they're getting a kill on Blaze too. So this is really helping, because this is buying them time for the later stages of the game. This is buying them a little bit more time for Nazebo. They're getting fully online here. They take over in experience as well, which is of course great, and can push these lanes even further. I mean, in an ideal world, you never want to even end up in a situation where you have to rely on Nazebo's level 20. You want to win the game beforehand, or at least get ahead. So if they can pull that off, then hey, even better. So they're going to try here. 13 is in. Still missing for DDX. They're going to get it any second now. They're back with 5 on the map. Structures haven't really been taken down too much yet. And Nazebo is sitting at 110 stacks, so Poik should feel very, very comfortable around all of this. It was mostly the blue team that got hunted in the early stages, but the one fight is all they needed to lock 2 quick kills in and pull ahead in experience. So right now the disc is out on Lucio. Arrow beautifully connected, but no follow-up whatsoever. It's actually kind of a shame. If you come in and you drop 2 ults like this with just crystal clear coordination, then I also, you know, want to see the reward. I want to see the kill. But none of that happened. So a little bit of a letdown if you ask me. We still got 20,000 damage for Nazebo. Muradin, that's fine. And they're backing off as Hanzo is sitting at 22,000. But again, the lead in experience is on the side of Team Gonen now. Might be a small lead, but still it's a lead. And they're not too far behind on the objective either. So this is working in their favor. It's playing into their hand. Junkrat again with another camp that they're going to try and grab here. We have the altars activating at the top left and top right. With 130 stacks, Nazebo is doing very well. And is also, of course, going to get more tanky in the process. I mean, again, we always talk about Vile Infection, but that voodoo ritual right there is way more than that. So, yeah, that's pretty important. Shots fired, puts the score down to 24. And the blue team is pulling off the same, so 24 to 28. Spiders nibbling as usual. Hope that Muradin is no arachnophobe, or he's going to have a very, very annoying game ahead of him. Level 16 coming up next, and it has slowed down slightly. We're now 10-11 minutes into the game, but outside of these little attack attempts to try and kill a target, we haven't seen massive team fights. The problem is also that the last objective phase has obviously not really lent itself to anything of the sorts, but now that we're having a triple altar phase coming up, at least the fight for altar number 3 should be more explosive. The level 16 talents being in play now too, that of course as well. Endless nades are in, the spider colony is now there too. With cooldown reduction that we get through that. Blaze is pushing at the top, they want their 16 as well. Next objective isn't announced yet, but will be soon. Blessed Shield, they want the kill apparently. Muradin reacts with Avatar, jumps out, and the Riptire wasn't enough to deal with him. Also the Ravenous Spirit. So lots of ults that got used by Gonen and cooldowns that got burned in their attempt to make a play there. Didn't really work out for them. So a bit unfortunate, I guess. Hanzo still has his arrow, uses it, locks it in. They want to go for Nazebo, and he's dead. Breeze, yeah, he's dead too. DDX, some signs of life again. Last couple of minutes, it honestly looked way better for Team Gonen. The blue team was pulling ahead here, but that was pretty important. There's the tether. Zelia overplays his hand and gets punished. Now they go for Junkrat, and they might be able to take him down too. Oh, yep, there's the kill. So essentially they killed everybody with the exception of Urel. And now the triple altar phase is up on the map, and they should be able to get themselves probably all 3 of them. If somehow Whoopi is able to pull off an absolute miracle, then maybe not. But nope, they're going to get this, and they're also going to get the bell tower at the bottom of the map. So this is a huge setup for Team Gonan. They had a phase in the game where it honestly looked pretty fantastic for them. But now they're losing another 10 points, and it's a bit disastrous. 5 shots fired there already. Whoopi is apparently trying to interrupt. Disc is missing, or there could have been a kill too. Breeze is here as well. Stormbolt also missing. A lot of the CC tools are all of a sudden gone. And that altar is still up for grabs. 15 points against 28, but this altar can still be fought for. It's a 5 versus 5 again. 1.5 level of a lead, by the way, for DDX. Arrow on Breeze! And it's Lucio that dies first, with Breeze falling a second later. Pumpkins are in play. And yes, this is where things are starting to get a lot harsher for the Swedish team. Gonan is in trouble. Camp stolen. Heroes dead. Brightwing with the channel on the last altar there. There's another 5 shots fired. They're going to be down to 10 points on the core. Well, make it 9 because one of the pumpkins just made it through. So they're in the single digits now. And Hanzo is pushing the mid lane a little bit. Or at least started it off on that. Still have a couple of camps that they can take. Didn't go for the boss, by the way. Level 20 in just a moment. And it will be... Now it's going to be a little bit more interesting to see what's happening around Nazeebo. Again, I talked about this before. His baseline is guaranteed. It's just a question of whether or not they make it to 20 and what shape they are in when they are at 20. Always assuming that they get there. So Bell Tower gets exchanged. Will be retaken, but it gets exchanged for 4 more shots fired at the top as the boss is now claimed. So Gonan goes down to 5 points on the core. Bot lane, no problem. 20 is now ready, which gives us Shadow Orb Huntress. Muradin with Rewind, I guess. There it is. Bullseye. And they're chasing Whoopi, and Whoopi is going to die here. Yeah, so Whoopi is down, but they're going to lose the bell tower at the bottom of the map. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I'm not quite sure if the Urel kill is worth that. Actually, they didn't even take it down. They see the rotation coming, so they fall back. But this thing is so low. Unless you somehow get a mule in there to repair that, then no chance. They might even be better off to just simply let that go and instead, you know, retake it. If not for the altar spawning in a few seconds. And look at the timing around Whoopi now. This is really bad for them. Fighting into level 20 with a numbers disadvantage. Yeah, that's a bit of a nightmare. This is where the game could end, and we could have the 2-0 lead for DDX in the best of 5. Channel from IF at the bottom of the map is already ongoing, so that's 4 shots fired and puts them down to a single point on the core. That's inevitable. Urel is back and has to go through the tunnel, and will. Arrow, this time missing. Took a bit of a risk there. Didn't connect it. Urel is back to business. Breeze is a bit low though, so they have to be careful on Breeze at least. Maiev gets attacked, jumps back out, stuns coming in, and here's the ult from Nazeebo. Nazeebo gets the ult out. Maev's still alive. They couldn't get a kill here. Everybody is falling back, and Brightwing is threatening them, pressuring them with the channel, and nearly gets it. The disc out. They want to go for Lucio. They couldn't quite grab him here, though. They got close for a second. If Lucio falls, then it is just all over. But in this case, gameplay still alive. We got Shizakit with, gets the armor from the structure, and then is also able to pick up the fountain tap. So, still alright. They interrupt again, and the blue team is fighting against level 20 talents the entire time here. But they're fighting well. They're fighting well against this. Now the attack as Brightwing comes in and tries to go for the pole. He gets instantly focused, and Brightwing is dead. The blue team, they need to survive the next attack, and then they will at least get this altar here. And it seems like they can. No counter kill. Shizakit tries to get out. Disc is missing. Muradin knows he's falling. In comes the ult from Hanzo to buy a bit more time, but it's a 5 versus 3 at this point. The bottom bell tower is going to be claimed, and this is the moment where Gonan can start the comeback. They have Vile Infection. Vile Infection is in. This game is not over. 1 point to 24. I know how this looks, but this is not over. They get the bell tower at the bottom of the map within seconds, and now they have the chance to try and grab a bit more. Red team is already setting up in the middle a little bit. They're expecting an attack for bell towers. They're expecting a power grab here. As down at the bot lane, we have pumpkins moving through. And DDX is apparently not defending against them because they're trying to save their structures instead. Which isn't a bad play by any means. Poik is already starting to take away the hit points on those forts. First 3 pumpkins are going to make it through. 3 shots fired, and another set is coming. 1.221. And again, the blue team fought hard for this. They had to fight without a level 20 talents against an opponent that was running storm talents on them, and for a short period even had an advantage in... Oh, nice! The ice from Zebo! And the kill from Hanzo! That's exactly what they needed. The Zebo kill, and they got it. As I said before, the blue team fought against level 20. They fought for a short period against the numbers advantage. Forced all of this. And now that they're finally in a position where you could argue they are in the driver's seat, or they have at least momentum build up, they lose Nazebo, which is of course by now basically their best damage dealer. Junkrat is a bit ahead, but time would really quickly turn this in favor of Nazebo. Now the question is if in that 5 versus 4, Gonan is able to somehow delay until Nazebo is back. 1 altar channel is all that's needed for DDX, and they're gonna win this game. So right here, this is the moment. Muradin. Oh, big spike. Hopefully only on my end, not on the players. At least nobody died during it. 4 kills to 11 now. And the attack is still coming. They're zoning as best as they can. Urel already moved away, and Azebo is back in a few seconds. No! Azebo is back, and Jojo is dead. The timing couldn't have been worse here. They're moving down to the bottom, zoning them all away. Now they're going for Urel. Jet propulsion connects. Ult quickly popped by Whoopi. Virgil is low though. They're all low. That's the problem here. Arrow comes out, gets dodged as they're trying to retreat. They have to be careful with the bell tower. And the first altar is channeled. Shots fired. Even in a 4 versus 5. Somehow Gonan pulls it off. There's no fountain taps available for DDX, so there weren't. Now they're all setting up down here. Another 30 seconds. Jojo is gone for another 30 seconds. And Urel is dead. The channel has happened. That is game. They turn it. DDX with a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. GG. Coming up next, we have game number 3 for you guys. Before we go, a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel on patreon.com/Khaldor. Really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene live with all of the events and tournaments that we're hosting, then please consider to check out patreon.com/Khaldor and support the channel there. It's the best way to support all of the things that we're currently doing for the scene and plan to do in the future. With that being said, enjoy the next game of the series. Game number 3, Cursed Hollow. A little bit of a shame, honestly, that we didn't see a longer Towers of Doom game. Gonan did a great job fighting in that 4 versus 5 at the end. It really felt like they might be able to get that second altar too and delay the game further, but yeah, well played by DDX. I mean, you gotta give it to them. It was just kind of nice to see that underdog position for the blue team, where they were first a talent down, they were still able to fight, then they were a hero down, didn't have the numbers, they were still able to battle it out on an eye level. Not only, it seemed honestly like they were winning the fights. They got one of the altars, and then DDX was just a bit too strong, too much in an advantageous position, and wins the game and has now a 2-0 lead, which means that Cursed Hollow, our third map, is also match point. So in case that Gonan loses, they're dropping down into the lower bracket and will have another shot to qualify there. DDX, on the other hand, they are probably pretty confident here. They've had enough of Zelia, though. They are just target banning Zelia at this point, getting rid of Rhaegar and getting rid of Lucio. Specifically after the last game, I don't really blame them for that Lucio ban after all. Maiev also completely taken out. Virgil, they don't want to deal with his diva either, and Poik starts things off with Chromie on Cursed Hollow. But everybody's adjusting a little bit to what they experienced in the last couple of games. Pretty clearly. Maiev had a huge impact too, of course. Lots of kills prepared there, so it makes sense that she gets eliminated. And now we get Sylvanas and we get Dehaka. So this is already looking a little bit more like we could see a full macro approach. If you with the new patch and the Inspire mechanic now push with the Haka on the side lane, you can get a lot of structures destroyed pretty quickly, of course. And then Sylvanas can enhance all of this even further on her own end. We've seen her previously, before the patch hit, already in teams where she was just side lane pushing a bit and trying to be aggressive there to take structures down, to push waves out. And now that we have Inspire as a push mechanic in the game, you could capitalize on that even further. Now, again, as I always tend to say, that has been offset by an increase in structural health on pretty much everything. So it's not like she can just run through the lane. But she can really make this an absolute nightmare for an opponent that doesn't have the mobility on the map to rotate around it. Karazim gets banned out as well. They're really just shutting Zelia down. I mean, that's honestly all that they're doing here. We got Muradin, Blaze, and assuming, I assume DDX is now picking another support for themselves. So that would eliminate 4 supports from Zelia. And then we'll see what he's left with and what he decides to go for. But it's kind of funny to me that DDX just appreciates him so much and says, like, ban those out. We don't want to deal with that at all. So they go for Brightwing and they go for Uther. So Uther main tank, they're going into a double support and they're taking 2 more away from Zelia here. I was the entire time, by the way, also waiting for a Grey main pick, which we might still get. But it's kind of amusing to me. So, there's plenty still around. You have Stukov available, Anduin is available, just to name 2 of the most popular ones. But, yeah, it's still kind of wild. It's basically a support battle that it came down to right now. And Malfurion is also there. Goes for Tyrande, though. Oh, and there's my Grey main pick that I just mentioned a second ago. So, Muradin Tyrande with follow-up from Chromie, Blaze, and Grey main. Oh, you have a killer combo on your hands. I mean, damn, son. That is rough. Wonder what they're playing against that. Some Medivh action? Nah, highly unlikely with a double support here. But they would do well with a shield or 2. I suppose Uther can provide a Divine Shield every now and then. And might be going into Guardian of Ancient Kings. I think that would be a good move. Double Global. There we have it again. So they go for more of a macro approach. Is that going to work against the blue team? I guess we're going to find out now. So this is match point. Are we going to get a 3-0 here? And will DDX advance? Or is Team Gonen now going to start a reverse sweep, start a comeback? Well, time to find out. Let's go for it. Cursed Hollow. Game on! Gonen on the left in blue. The moment of truth. The comeback potentially with Azzy on Grey main. We got Zelia on Tyrande. Wooby is playing Blaze, and then we have Breeze on Muradin with Poik on Chromie. Over on the right side of the map, that's where it gets really interesting, doesn't it? Shizakid on Uther. We got Sylvanas played by Papa Smurf, Danazovsky on Brightwing, Virgil with Dehaka, and then Dead Inside on Falstad. So, let's check out what we're gonna have here. Virgil and Danazovsky were a bit late to the party, apparently. We had a quick pause because of that. It's actually not the first time. This is like the 3rd time in the day that we had DDX pause at the beginning. I think not all of the players are there for the draft, or after the draft. I don't know what they're doing. But this is happening quite regularly. Either way, it's totally fine. So, with that, we now have our split onto the lanes. Down at the bottom of the map, Blaze, Wooby was dealing with Sylvanas. They knew that the Sylvanas push would happen somewhere, they just didn't know where. And now that we have the double support for DDX, with Uther acting as a main tank, of course, we have essentially a strategy where you can push on multiple lanes fairly easily with this. Have the sustain on top of that too, so you're not quite that vulnerable. And as the game continues, we'll see how well the red team will leverage the globals, because that's the big question. This one they saw coming a bit late, and well, that's a dead Muradin right there. Uther. Muradin was able to get the hit in. Tyrande obviously has a hunter's mark as well. Zelia, another one riding in style with a money pick into battle. And with that, they're just going for Azzy to try and get themselves a camp here. Gonen has a composition that is designed to kill heroes. You have Muradin leading things off with a stun, Tyrande with a follow-up stun, Blaze with a follow-up stun. You have the Hunter's Mark of Tyrande to make sure that the target is more vulnerable. And then you have 2 heroes that have a lot of burst damage in the form of Greymane and Chromie. So this is really just a whole composition designed to get kills. If it fails to do that, they will lose. So they have to get their kills, they have to really win through these team fights. And they do not have any globals, whereas the red team is running 3. So there is actually a pretty big chance that DDX is gonna try and dodge out on some of the fights as this continues. And just tries to play the lanes, take some structures down, maybe get a lead by eliminating a few of the forts and then capitalize on the passive experience gained and play it that way. But you can see the CC chain right there. Even with the support around, that's immediately what happens. Now Falstad goes for the top. They want to get a kill on Chromie, and they get it. Chromie goes down. That was some cool play there. Really well done. The aggression in the middle from the blue team, pinning down DDX. Falstad going behind the gate, flying top, and then instantly you have the poly, and it's enough damage to take down Chromie. So a kill for a kill. This is exactly the kind of play that we need to see here. Honestly, love the way that the two teams interact with each other. Even the ban patterns that are evolving, since we've seen how Zelia targeted, who obviously is now trying to showcase off his Tyrande a little bit. But yeah, with that, first objective, first tribute soon up. Sylvanas, okay, they really want to go for this one. Blaze is missing, so is Chromie. Dehaka is still at the bottom of the map. Could push the lanes out. They still want this camp, but the blue team might actually commit to this. Blaze is showing in the middle, so it's a 4 versus 4 right now. Dehaka pushed one more wave out, and, well, here comes the commitment. So Dehaka has to come in, and does. They go for Azzy. Greymane gone. That's really bad for Gonen. If they lose more here, that would be a disaster. Uther gets eliminated, but he can still help out, of course. They take the camp, and at least it's a kill for a kill. That's... I mean, that was an important one, and they get a free tribute, so it's not that bad yet. Falstad flew down to the bottom of the map, on the other hand. Greymane is now trying to move in order to deal with that, but this could have been bad for the blue team. It could have been really bad. If they lose more than one hero and don't get the tribute, then it's a disaster. This is also a really nice push. It's a double camp, essentially. All of the backline minions now inspired, and that's lots of damage. Taking one of the towers down and even eliminating the gate itself. So this is fantastic, especially since the team is now coming in with the rest of them too. They might be able to push this a bit further. Breeze is getting pressured. We still have mercenaries here. You get a couple of attacks in, and that's nice damage on that fort. Whereas upside, Dehaka, he's still playing this one out against Chromie as best as possible. Gets the lick, nice, bit low, and overplayed his hand. Poik is able to drop him. Well done. Now we have the second tribute coming up. And down at the bottom of the map, Dead Inside still playing it out with Whoopi. So fairly even. Lead in experience goes to the blue team. But we have kind of a wild game on our hands right now. Very cool plays from either side. The problem for the red team is now this is not a tribute that they should have lost. This one, they should have won. And now the chances are pretty high that DDX is going to face off against the Curse eventually here. So Brightwing, nice! Danazovsky! That one was sweet. Really well done. Danazovsky is able to get out. Could have been a kill. But the blue team is just doing generally a bit better here now. Well, maybe now they can... might be able to do some structural damage, but they won't be able to get a kill here. Next minion wave is coming in too. In the middle, Brightwing got attacked again. Even the cocktail hits, but does not do enough damage to get the kill for them. Level 10 abilities are now ready. They are trying to get some damage in. Inspire kicks in, and they are getting some decent damage on that fort. Same happened, of course, earlier on other lanes, but yep, they're keeping that pressure play up. This is the whole idea here. Play the macro game. Now they have a disengage with Mighty Gust. They have the Wailing Arrow and Divine Shield. So there's a lot of really important tools for them right now that they can utilize. For the blue team, it's pressure on camps that they're trying to get now. But, well, that's an easy fort at the bottom of the map. Inspire mechanic kicks in, that alone is already enough. And Blaze, and they can't do anything about it. They are cursed though. So that's the problem that we were already talking about earlier. So the curse hits. Zelia gets the stun, just barely missed. But this is where now the blue team has to start to bring this up. This was the big one, right there. The play to be made regarding the curse. After you lost already some structures, you need to try and respond now properly and get some damage done too. Brightwing is defending the top lane against Chromie. That's nearly going to be impossible. Brightwing alone is not going to be able to pull that off. Mirrodin still sitting between the lanes. Curse is alive for another 30 seconds, so 1 or 2 more minion waves have to be eliminated. Once they eliminate this at the bottom of the map, they're going to be fine. In the middle, on the other hand, though, Virgil, he's doing his best to stop the mercenary camp. And, yeah, well, the 2 heroes now saying hello. That's obviously going to be disaster or not going to be happening. But they are... Can they save that fort? They're trying to go for a kill here instead. Chromie is taking out the fort at the top lane. And over here, they're still saving the middle. So it's a little bit of an interesting situation when you think about it, because essentially in structures the teams are now the same. The problem is really that curse that was already kicking in here, and that's the huge problem. As Tyrande gets attacked here, they might actually be able to get that kill. Shizakid is getting a stun out, but doesn't have his Divine Shield yet. Will have it in a few seconds, but not in time to save Sylvanas from Chromie. So they have to back off once more. For me personally, it already went south when they lost this tribute. You're going 3-0-3 in tributes, it's a bad game for you. It doesn't mean you can't recover, but that shouldn't happen. You should at least be able to get 1 if you're making an honest play for it. And for them, it was just the timing of the kills for Team Gonen that made it more or less impossible. Similar situation happened when the camp over here was invaded, and it resulted in the topside tribute being claimed by the blue team. Which is great for the Swedes. They have now a boss pushing at the bottom of the map too. So there's momentum building up now for Team Gonen that they will be happy to exploit as best as possible. That fort is gone. No saving it. Red team wants level 13, of course. But yeah, things are getting tough quickly. Because this is still a Grey main push at the bottom of the map, and let's not forget that we are actually looking at a boss plus Grey main and then the minion waves. There's a huge amount of damage that could be done here, and if not, then they can still take the fort in the middle. Passive experience is going to increase. They already have a significant lead. The Haga is now pushing back, so there are a couple of globals that could, I suppose, at the end of the day, really try and make a few moves as this continues, but they need some time and space for it, and I am not so certain that the blue team is going to give them that. So, we'll see. We'll see where this is headed. But, yeah, could be a dicey one. I mean, right now, Brightwing is at the bottom of the map, doing the thing there. We're having Falstad sitting in the middle, the Haka. They are already splitting this onto the lanes as they should, and they're doing a good job with that. But they need to force a fight eventually to maybe get their own boss here, try and get a curse, something. And if they fail to do that, then the blue team is just going to walk over them, because their experience gains are increasing right now the more time passes. So, yeah, there's that. But then again, we're having down at the bottom of the map still the next tribute up, and they let it go again. So that's tribute number 4 in a row now that gets channeled by Team Gonen. 17,000 damage. It's not really a damage heavy game. We're 10 minutes in, but we have 6 kills already. 18,000 for Sylvanas. But the problem is that, well, 16 is now going to get ready. And the big deal will be what's happening around bosses, new tributes. How much is DDX really willing to give up here? They're going down to the bot lane now completely. They can use at the top, try and pressure some structures again. But if you look at this experience distribution here, for example, passive experience is not completely snowballing yet, but it is clearly tilting more heavily in favor of Team Gonen. They are on even footing more or less with minion experience, heroes, advantage for the blue team, and mercenary experience. I mean, it's not even close. You got Greymane over there, and he's been doing the works. Now, up at the top, that's the next move. Uther put into a corner, hiding behind the boss, as Brightwing is at the bottom of the map still. The Haga was there too a second ago, but decided to join the fight early. This would be the 5th tribute if they take it. And there's no level 16 talent for the red team, so they're trying to buy themselves a bit of time. But Virgil gets attacked, and bye-bye Dehaga, he's gone. Bye-bye! So Dehaga's gone, Uther to use his Divine Shield. I gotta be honest with you guys, DDX is falling a bit apart here. DDX is having some real trouble. The blue team is just controlling this too well. They've established an advantage early on, and ever since then, they have been running the show here. With 16 talents now on both sides, maybe there's some cheeky plays that could be done by DDX. A Gast boss steal would be amazing, but they didn't get that either. Dehaka not here yet. The idea was, of course, stall out the blue team a bit and then get Dehaka to global in. But they are suffering. There's a big push happening at the bottom of the map with the catapults, but, well, don't think that's going to be a big problem. Maybe if one of the globals could down there and pressure the lane, that could help a little bit. Well, this is going to help. I guess he's dead. Whoopee? That's the no way. Dude, no! Okay, Dehaka stops him. Imagine him surviving there. I mean, at that point, I would have just rage quit if I'm on DDX. At that point, I would have just said, okay, where's the surrender button? If we can't even get that kill, then this game is just simply lost. Forget about it. But okay, so the boss at least didn't do anything. Now they can, I guess, get themselves one tribute. But they really have to leverage these globals more and push these side lanes if they want to have a shot here at all. One level of a lead still for Gonan. And they are going to throw everything now against the red team to slow this down and try and get another curse. Well, actually, they're trying to get the boss with Greymane, are they? Well, I would have expected them to try and interrupt us a little bit longer, and instead what they're doing is they go for the boss at the bottom of the map. Not a bad play either. Topside push is going to eliminate the fort now. Yep, nobody's dealing with that, so that's an easy fort to be destroyed. But the boss at the bottom of the map is going to walk for the keep. So they should keep somebody at the top lane after taking the fort down, I guess. They have a lot of globals after all, so why not? Move back with the rest of the team and then move in whoever else is still missing. But this might force somebody back. You have one minion wave already coming in. Defense at the bottom of the map has to, of course, be set up properly. No level 20 for the blue team. That's their advantage. The one thing that they can count on. And in comes Dehaka. Can get the Inspire going and does. Get some attacks in. Tries to take the minion wave out. Can wait for the next one. Down at the bottom of the map, the wall is already eliminated. Siege Giant still in play. Soon gone, though. Both low. That keep. Yeah, they are going to grab that keep. The keep is going to get destroyed, but the core will still hold on. Now, they can still... well, I was actually thinking that they might just be able to do a little bit here by taking the wall down, but no. Dehaka is... okay. That was a very clutch channel back, because that could have easily resulted in the catapult interrupting him. But there's the next curse. So that's the second curse now against DDX and soon level 20. Now, if Gonan gets another keep, then they should be able to finish this game out in the short or the long run. And I do not see anybody stopping them here. They still have Greymane, and this thing is just going to get absolutely wrecked. So right now, Gonan just looking so darn strong here. Falstad, maybe if he at some point gets a good angle and can gust, they can force a proper fight. But the red team is just... they're just dying a slow and painful death. That's all that's happening here. 2 curses. We're talking 2 curses against the red team. It's just way too much. And of course the bosses that have been taken. Look at the experience gains again. Look at the difference in mercenary experience. That just tells you everything that you need to know. Catapults on the core now pretty much. 10 seconds for the curse. At some point Dead Inside is going to try and fly and force a fight with the Gust. They need to do something. Well, maybe they're not going to try, but something needs to happen. Obviously, they need to wait for level 20. That's the first part of that. If you don't have a wind tunnel, then you don't want to try and make that play, at least not that late in the game. Dehaka's defending at the bottom of the map now. That gives them some extra experience, and the blue team has already given up on the idea of taking the keep right now. They don't have to take it right now. They're still in a great spot. 6 tributes against 1. That's what we had so far in this game. Celia starting to push here. Down at the bottom of the map we have Virgil getting the catapults eliminated, and level 20 is now there. So we get redemption. By the way, Hand of Protection was nice for them. But I honestly don't really understand why they didn't go for Guardian of Ancient Kings here. I think I mentioned it even during the draft. There's so many stuns, and stuns are such a crucial part of how they're getting their kills. I would have expected to just get the extra armor out. Nice isolation. Really nice contagion. Can they get the kills here? Breeze is low. Here comes the wind tunnel play. They need to drop that bunker. Breeze gets pushed around. They can't get a kill from the looks of it. Tyrande was low and somehow escapes. Insanity. Insanity. And Sylvanas is dead. That's nasty. I mean, seriously. They just can't get that kill. Tyrande, I feel like the coordination around taking her down was also a bit off. But that's basically all of the ults used. And now we are seeing the blue team make a play for the boss. And this has to be contested. Uther, I mean, he's gonna die. He has redemption. They need to stop this. They can't afford to lose that. Uther is gonna be back. Sylvanas isn't. So they're forcing them back for now. But there's camps pushing through the middle with catapults, and up at the top, the siege giants are going to take that keep out. So, yeah, it's more or less a checkmate situation right now. Unless they get kills and get them quickly, this is just a no-win spot. The Haka is gone. Shizakid makes it thanks to the wind tunnel from Falstad. But, yeah, with the Haka gone, Sylvanas just now coming back, and the top keep dying to the siege giants. This is where the blue team is putting the first point onto the scoreboard. They're going to take this one. Uther is now gone, and he's gone for the full duration. He didn't have the cooldown any longer for redemption. So now they can really decide on how exactly they want to play this. And apparently they're just saying, okay, you know what? We're going to play this mega safe. We're going to go for the boss and try and claim that. But, well, here we go. 41,000 damage for Sylvanas. 42,000 on the other side. Brightwing is dead, got trapped by the bunker, and with all the keeps already gone and the boss now taken, this is of course a foregone conclusion. You can't save this anymore. Dead inside is also getting wrecked, so that only leaves Sylvanas, and this is a game. They're trying to go for Sylv to can't drop her, but even without the boss, this would have been the end of it. I mean, every single keep is destroyed. There's catapults on all the lanes now pushing. We're 20 minutes into the game, and there we have it. Gonen takes the victory. This is going to be the first point on the board for them, and maybe the start of a comeback. I mean, we're going to see. We're going to find out as we're heading for our 4th map in this Best of 5 series and the winner bracket final. The begin of the reverse sweep. Maybe, maybe not. Sky Temple is the 4th map, and Gonen finally has a point on the scoreboard. Diva gets banned. Again, nothing changed. Virgil still great on the hero. They don't want to deal with it. And obviously, Zelia gets targeted with the Lucio ban by DDX. Great play on Cursed Hollow. I mean, again, for me personally, I really think it fell apart pretty early. If you are eating 2 curses in a row with basically not taking any tributes yourself, then you know you're in trouble. So lots and lots of stuff that just didn't work together for DDX there. The globals didn't have the impact that you expected. We had one cool move by Falster towards the top lane to take out Dromi. And that was essentially it. I mean, there were more global plays where the Haka came in late and things like that, but nothing that really screamed, okay, we're going to win the macro game right now. So Gonen played it very well, established the lead, and then just ran with it. And teamfights in particular were extremely difficult for DDX, despite the fact that they had, of course, 2 supports. So Breeze is coming in with Tyrael as a first pick. Super strong on that hero, of course. I mean, his Tyrael is crazy good too. And then we get Junkrat from Azzy. It's a great start for them into the draft. With Blaze for Virgil. Blaze obviously always one of the best side laners that you can possibly lock in. The Urel ban is also kind of funny to me because they're now targeting 2 of the top heroes for either Zelia or then Wooby. And we get Johanna for Shizakid. So, Jojo and Blaze, there's a lot of survivability at the front. There's a lot of tools that you have in order to just ensure that your opponent is not breaking through that front line and can kill someone. You have the bunker that you can throw out, the blessed shield, you got your blind, you got the slows. So Lots of good tools for them, as Sylvanas gets banned. After she got now picked several times by DDX, Gonen don't really want to deal with her any longer, and understandable. Will be interesting. Sky Temple should be kinda interesting here. There were a couple of changes, by the way, for Sky Temple as well in the patch. But most of the stuff was honestly along the lines of just simply knockback mechanics that we have on the temples. That's basically it. Nothing, nothing more. ETC. Wooby with an ETC side laner. Okay. Or they are swapping. Tyrael, the Genji is inner to it. Tyrael could go to Wooby for the side lane and Breeze could play ETC. Not saying that's what we're getting. Usually it's ETC that's the side laner because you also have your global then with stage dive. But this is still a really interesting choice for that frontline double. Very interesting. Let's see if that works for them. I would definitely argue that Breeze is the better ETC player here. But what about Tyrael? Who wants to play that on the side lane? We get Jaina and we get Alarak. So now, okay. Some of the drafts that we're getting today, they are really, really cool. They're not crazy in the sense that we're all of a sudden getting a murky pick. But there are some pretty cool small twists that definitely bring in a different approach. And what we're getting now at the front line for Gonen, let's see if that works out for them. We got Alarak against it, and then Malfurion for Zelia. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, Sky Temple, map number 4, match point number 2. Can Gonen go all the way, push it to game 5, or is DDX gonna end it right here? Let's find out. Lots of cool stuff happening right now in the game, in the draft, and well, let's have a closer look at the two team compositions as we are heading into game number 4 of this best of 5 series here at the last chance qualifier. Azzy for the blue team is playing Junkrat. We got Breeze on Tyrael, Wooby on ETC, Poik with Genji, and we get Zelia on Malfurion. So ETC is side laning it, going stage dive most likely. As on the right side, we have DDX with Shizakid on Johanna. The front line completed with Virgil on Blaze. Dead inside on Jaina. We get Anazovsky on Rhaegar. And then Papa Smurf with Alarak. After all of the Maiev games that we've now seen from him, this is going to be an interesting one. That, on the other hand, wow, the power slide was great, but they couldn't get that kill quickly enough. And now it is instead a kill against Tyrael. But damn. That was quite the trap and quite the opening into this. So, whew. That was an interesting one. Yeah, some sadism for Alarak, but Breeze the one that falls. That power slide from ETC was pretty much perfect. I mean, hitting 3 right there. But that backfired. Very early in the game, so not really too crazy, but still, that's an interesting one. I like the aggression though that we got from Team Gonen. They came in and they said, okay, we need to really put our mark onto the game from the start. Let's try and open this one up with a kill and see what it gets us. Couldn't quite. Level 1 for Alarak, we got overwhelming power. And Alarak is already dealing with the next mercenary camp over here. And Breeze will say hello. Oh, but also, yeah, there's still Jaina. So Jaina's basically doing the same thing, just saying like, hey, how you doing today? As we have ETC with another slide, and now some easy damage on that wall. Yeah. No, it's pretty okay. Nearly taking one of the towers out. If they take control over the top temple, that is going to make it much easier for them to drop the top side forward. That much is for sure. So both of the teams now with a couple of siege giants around too. Alarak gets attacked very quickly. Rhaegar is around and can get the heal out. And oh boy, in trouble, but what a root again from Zelia. So it would have been pretty awesome if we... I mean, if they would have turned this around again and got a kill on Genji, that would have been amazing for Team DDX. But Gonen with some really nice support plays here, especially of course from Zelia who had the root ready. A moment's notice. 10 seconds for the first objective to be announced. With level 4 we get the Celestial Alignment. And we got Divine Vigor here for Tyrael. Now, down at the bottom of the map, still that little 3-man that is playing this out as best they can. And I want to see what Alarak is going to pull off as that game continues. I really feel that a lot of this is going to hinge on him, and there will be a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He played a fantastic Maiev and carried the team in multiple occurrences. And this is out on this one, though. We got Subdue on level 4, also Frost Armor. And the objective now popping up, and of course immediately the question, who takes what? If the full top lane gets channeled by the red team, then they're going to get mad value on that top lane fort because of all the damage that they did previously with the mercenary camp that they had on the lane. Jojo going up against Junkrat, still down at the bottom of the map. And ETC is now trying to steal a couple of the shots away to safeguard the top side. And so far doing okay. Whoopi eats some damage, but is still able to walk out on this. Alarak, yeah, looking for combos, looking for some plays here. Currently we have ETC also with his level 7 talent, which of course in this case is Echo Paddle. That's going to help you a little bit more with clearing waves too, both teams on level 7. Rhaegar had to fall back. Shots are still fired up at the top, and ETC is up against 2 with now Malfurion and Genji slowly moving over. So it's been a continuous back and forth, but I gotta say that the blue team is doing a bit better on the objective. They're getting a bit more value here, and they were also able to get a significant number of shots from the top side temple. So they should be fairly confident. They have taken the lead in experience now, and they have also taken a small structural advantage with the damage that they did at the mid and the top fort combined. So, not too shabby. After losing out on the kill earlier, that one was still pretty good. This, on the other hand, could be a slow. There's the combo, the stun. The wolf comes in for a bite, and ETC says, "See ya!" So that's a kill right there. I'm getting a bit more damage in on Poik, but yeah. Can they do something with it? That's the question. Oh, Zelia gets attacked too. Alarak at 114 sadism now. That's down at the bottom of the map. Still applying a bit of pressure against Jojo, but help is on the way. Trying for Breeze. Obviously has to get away from this. But Dead Inside with Jaina is really pulling a number on them. Getting the hits in time and time again and just lock them down. That extra CC that of course that brings to allow other heroes like Blaze with the jet propulsion or Alarak with a good combo to follow up on. That is also quite useful. So yeah, that slow is something that they're going to rely on heavily in those team fights. Especially of course if they're setting ganks up as well, not only team fights per se. But level 10 abilities are soon going to get ready here. And so far the game has still been very even. XP gets easily locked in, both on level 10. Stage dive as expected. We get the Riptire of course. We have Judgment for Tyrael. Counter-Strike for Alarak. And Malfurion, is he gonna go into his... I mean, he might actually not go into Tranquility here. Especially when we are thinking about like potential level 20 picks then. You could make some real nasty plays with Judgment and then following that up with Malfurion. So right now, Zelia hasn't really made a move there, but goes into Tranquility. It's all about survivability for them. Big push happening at the top though. Down at the bottom of the map it's a 1v1 between the tanks, but up here they were hoping to do more structural damage. Decent defense though from the blue team. And Tyrael is getting the shots at the bottom of the map. So this makes this a bit dangerous. They are losing more ground. Currently that's still kind of okay-ish, but if you're losing too much here, then you're going to pay the price eventually. Alarak with 160 sadism stacks. They're gonna go for another kill. This time Malfurion. And he's gone. Poik was also a bit low, but was able to escape. Tyrael realized that he should probably back off and let the few last shots be claimed by the red team. ETC on the other hand, pushing at the top. Blaze dealing with the minions and missing the jet propulsion in the process. Poik is also here. And Junkrat is in the middle. Guess who's playing the macro game now? Indeed, it is the blue team. Trying to just push structures and do as much as they can there. Whoopi escapes, jumps down to the bottom of the map and stops them from taking the fort and goes for Danazovsky Who is gonna die to Breeze? And that's another kill. Jaina is dead too. And all of a sudden, we have a 5 versus 3 on our hands. 2 kills, easily claimed here by Team Gonan. First 2 that they get, and they instantly make a move towards the boss. So, we have a lot of sadism coming together for Alarak. He's sitting at 120 now, and while the boss is taken, Virgil at least is not asleep on the wheel or anything, comes in and makes sure that they are taking at least a fort. But with the boss, the next one is going to be claimed at the bottom of the map. Jojo, are they going to make a move? They are making a move. Yeah, they're trying. They miss out on it immediately though, and then they're like, okay, that's going to happen here. But they tried. We were actually hoping to interrupt this for long enough. Oh, that blessed shield. That hurts. Bounces off the boss and doesn't hit anything. Yeah, they would have loved to get more value out of it, but nope, not happening. So a little bit unfortunate. If it bounces over, if they are hitting Genji, then it's a totally different story. Now 1 fort is eliminated. More are likely going to fall. Technically each team has lost a fort, but there will be more that's gone. Poi gets attacked. Once that we have Numbing Blast, by the way, for Jaina, a lot of these fights are going to be disastrous for Gohan. Numbing Blast would be such a good tool. But look at the macro play again. Breeze at the top now. Again, exploiting the Inspire mechanic on the minion waves. And getting big value out of it. They're taking another fort out with it. This is what I wanted to see earlier. They have the mobility on so many of their heroes right now. They have stage side ETC. They could also just use Junkrat for that and jump around with him. But you have Tyrael's mobility, you have Genji. So if you just push onto these lanes, you can do a lot here. And now look at the map. Both of the temples are under the control of the blue team. Both of them are right there. So, top side, Alarak, if he dies and loses the sadism stacks that they've been working for, that would suck as well. But he's gonna get the kill on Whoopi, isn't he? Yeah, Breeze is low too. So now 142 stacks, and yep, they're trying for more here. Tyrael, well, they're first getting a kill on Poik, or maybe not. Poik goes down, and Breeze survives. Genji sacrificed himself, but they lost. Well, they saved at least ETC. So now we have Siege Giants at the bottom of the map pushing. Both teams on level 15. The big difference is really in structures. When you look at the minimap, there's a clear advantage going on right now for Team Gonan. And oftentimes on this map, this is all that really matters. So late game control would of course be important. We have 155 sadism stacks for Alarak. He's at 25,000 damage and top damage in the game overall. With level 16 kicking in, I guess we're going to get Numbing Blast for Jaina, and then things will get interesting, as I mentioned previously, because a lot of the fights where you see mobility from Genji, from Tyrael, from others would have ended a completely different way if Numbing Blast was already a thing, and it has now been picked up. Genji, well, I mean, he is now still trying to nibble at the bottom as they're going for the fort. Previously, Junkrat was eliminated, and now all of a sudden, the red team is just getting one structure after another. So, really wild. At first it was the macro performance from Team Gonan that put them ahead, but then we have a few kills during an objective for DDX, and they are taking structure after structure apart. Now there's still the keep that is low at the bot lane for the red team. But now there's that lead in XP, we now have Numbing Blast. So there's a lot of really good tools available for DDX to potentially win this one. It's gonna be close though. I mean, 6 kills to 2 right now. There's also a question of what exactly happens with Alarak. Because let's face it, if he loses all of his sadism stacks, then one of the best damage sources that we get for the red team will be gone. Currently, he's gonna be happy as hell. Siege Giants claimed. Jaina, yeah, she sees it. And instantly the attack here. But Breeze is just jumping around them. And ETC is already at the top lane, globaling it up a little bit, waiting for that stage dive moment. But then again, on the damage side, we got 28,000 for Alarak now. And 27,000 for Genji. Next temple activates in a few seconds, and we have only one up this time. Only one single temple. Boss is up in 50 seconds too. So that's another one to really watch out for. Oh, Jaina. Yeah, that's likely. That would have been a kill on Azzy. Jaina might still get it, does, but it's a kill for a kill. So I'm not 100% certain if that was really worth it. I guess maybe. But, yeah. That would have been a disaster if Jaina didn't at least get the kill. But so they're trading evenly damage dealers. Now it's Alarak, that's the only real damage dealer that the team has with them. And they're currently fighting for it. It's a very beefy setup for DDX on that position. And, well, that's a kill. Tyrael is dead again. Instantly another move from Alarak as they're trying to also drop Genji, who's able to jump out. But Whoopi is still there and gets pushed around easily. Oh, if he dies too. 181 sadism right now, and there's another combo. And that's the end of ETC. Alarak is ripping them a new one at this point. They can go for the boss now with ease. 9 kills to 3. This is really bad news for Gonan. Things look great for them. Things really look good for a long time. But now we have Alarak just absolutely destroying here. I mean, he's becoming a total monster. They're going for the boss. They've already soaked up all the shots. They had an experience. ETC is still dead. We have 14 minutes in as the boss gets claimed. Jaina sitting at the top. And apparently Dead Inside is just trying to go for solo kills at this point. Just saying, hey, if you stay there, I'm gonna go toe-to-toe now with Genji this time. So, yeah. Sniffs him out. And Poik is rushing away. Rest of the team is already on the move. So they're trying to go for him now. And there's the hits. Ice block. Blocked out the judgment. But still dies. I'm not quite sure why exactly they're going for the plays that are this risky the entire time. I guess sometimes it works out for them. But in this case, can they at least get Genji? The answer is yes, they get the counter kill. The boss, by the way, is already attacking the bot lane wall. Really sexy ice block, though, on that judgment. And there's the kill on ETC. Damn. DDX is absolutely blasting them right now. Big damage at the bottom of the map. Level 20 talents are now available too. 190 sadism for Alarak, who went into Might of the High Lord here. They are opening up structures time and time again. They get a couple of these mercenary camps now too. Obviously the blue team is not too far behind and will get their own level 20 talents in a moment or so. But still, this is pretty big for DDX. There's a double temple now coming up. And they will at least initially soak both. That's at least what we should see here. So another wave cleared. Pushing them back even further. 10 seconds for the temples to activate. Judgment! And Iron Skin. Was up and ready. So just trading cooldowns here. It's a low cooldown now for Breeze obviously as well. Since he upgraded on 20 straight into Angel of Justice. So he's not worried about that at all. Top gets soaked. And, well, that's a keep. The problem is that nobody's dealing with the bot lane. I really expected them to go towards the bot lane and deal with it too, because that's a keep as well. Faster even than the opponent. So, they're setting up a bit of a trap here. Whoopi, blessed shield! And he gets away. Nice little idea that they had there. Oh, and now they just move in the middle and take this one out too. So, double keep. 2 keeps down. Still Breeze at the bottom of the map on the temple. And he's not getting the keep in the middle. So structurally they are ahead now. Few more shots are going to be fired. All of them down to the bottom of the map. So this one is also a bit low. Boss is coming back up in 2 minutes and a half. So it's still going to take a long time for the boss to be a factor in the game again. Experience. Minion experience. Nearly identical for the two teams. The big difference is really the hero XP. Those 7 additional kills that we had for the red team is just a bit too much. So, well, everybody is just looking for opportunities right now, with especially Alarak being, of course, a massive, massive threat. Lots of sadism, lots of damage, and if Jaina can lock a target down with a numbing blast and stuns follow, then you know that it's going to be a tough one. Siege Giant's already eliminated. 1 single temple on the next altar phase. No, actually, sorry, my bad, 2. Next objective phase is going to have 2 temples. Ooh, yeah, we could actually see a team lose because of that. Tyrael. I like the little aggression plays that we are getting from Breeze, but he also needs to be careful because that blessed shield is not far. Just sliding around here. Moving down to the bottom of the map, trying to go for a bit of a trap. Yeah, and Junkrat is of course having none of it, and it's just firing one grenade after another. They're not face checking anything. But I like that DDX is trying it. I really like that they're trying to set these traps up the entire time. This is exactly what you need to do here. And it's cool that Gonen is also sniffing those out over and over again. They're not risking anything. They know what's on the line here. Either you force game 5 or you're dropping down into the lower bracket and have to try another run there. Temple's activating in 27, and this is where it's going to get real wild, potentially. Structurally, DDX is ahead. So their shots are worth more. They will target the core way faster than the opponent's team. Breeze instantly out after he realizes that they are trying to come in for him from both sides. So Alarak moving towards the top. Yeah, they're going to try and get some shots there. Temples moves down towards the middle. Alarak is going to start claiming the shots. And again, this is going to attack the core in a moment. I'm not quite sure if the blue team can really get away with it the way that they are anticipating here. Yes, they're taking the keep out in the middle of the map, but their own core is now going to get attacked, and this is going to hurt. The shield is now going to get removed, and even with them eliminating the the keep in the middle, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. So they're trying now. They're jumping in here. Alarak gets attacked right away. They try to go for him. They still want him. He gets the Ancestral from Rhaegar. Jaina is dead. Alarak, on the other hand, comes in with a big boy damage. Huge play from him. Big damage, and that's the kill. Jaina initially falling, but now it's only 3 heroes left for Team Gonen. Breeze about to fall. Breeze. Alarak is trying to get away here, and he really needs to retreat. He has all the sadism in the world, but Blaze is now getting eliminated. So all of a sudden, Gonen is actually back. Judgment on Alarak. Counter-strike, and he gets 2. He hits them both, and he hits them hard. They're going for the triple kill right now, and that is game. That is fully game. They tried to go for Alarak again, came in with a counter-strike, and absolutely wrecked them. What a play there from him. 63,000 damage, double control now on the temples. They go for the shots. DDX moves on to the final of the last chance group. Gonen dropping down into the losers bracket. What a performance from DDX in this series. Well done. GG and well played.